Gosh, it just talked. Did anyone hear that? Where did that come from? It's a new thing. Okay, well, that makes sense. So just take a moment to sit up and tune in to the body and the breath. We are going to do some conversation around the astrology, but with my Gemini Sun, Mars, and North Node, all in all in my ninth house there, it's very easy for me to get very, very, very excited about Gemini season. So we're going to just take a moment to come into the space. So Gemini is very much the mind, and very important during Gemini season to bring the mind into the body through the breath. So let's just take a deep breath in through the nose, and then just exhale out your mouth. Let your shoulders soften. Take another deep breath in. And then sigh it out. Give yourself a little wiggle, a little rock. Take another big breath in. And then sigh. And again, a little more just movement. Shake out your hands. Just shift the body. And then just take a few slow breaths. Breathe into your belly. Breathe into your heart. Gemini rules the hands, the arms, the lungs, the voice box. So breathing up into the chest, into the hands. Again, nice to wiggle the fingers, roll out the wrists a little bit. And let yourself ground into your body. And so as we were saying, if you know you have Gemini placements, you can kind of feel yourself settle into where Gemini is fluttering and flickering in your body, in your bones. But Gemini lives in the third house in the mandala of the sky, the third house of community and communication and siblings and the virtues of humor, the virtues of self-expression, the virtues of curiosity. And as we ground under the waxing Libra moon, the sun fully in Gemini, both waxing towards the summer solstice, we arrive. And you just for a moment may place your hands over your heart or closer to where your throat and your heart meet. You can feel that contact of the hands. And just being open for the blessings, for the magic, for the potential of this cycle. A lot of energy this cycle, and I always find Gemini season magical. But this is a pretty potent one with eclipses and some important retrogrades. And so just allow yourself to arrive here with your guides, guardians, ancestors, angels, the way this energy embodies and emits in your life. And just feeling into whatever's in your heart, in your voice today, maybe any areas that you feel nervous about or disconnected from or excited for. And just being open, being curious. That's the most important quality of Gemini season, is curiosity. So take another breath in and exhale. And I pulled an Earth Magic Oracle card for today, and I got the Milky Way perspective, which is lovely for Gemini, being the mind, but also today, just this morning, Saturn, who's in Aquarius, which is one of the big energies of this generation, this next couple of years, is in Aquarius, and it just went retrograde. Its first official retrograde in Aquarius. And so Aquarius is innovation and the higher consciousness. It's sort of the signature that's over the astrology this year, the next few years, our evolution currently on the planet. Dana had mentioned Jupiter just shifted into Pisces. It's only in Pisces for a few months. It's in its Aquarius energy, but it shifted into Pisces. And then it'll go back to Aquarius, but it moved into Pisces. So it takes that Aquarius innovation and moves it into the dreaming. It moves it into the emotional realm. It takes us out of just higher consciousness and into connection. So this card felt really beautiful, but I want to read just the introduction to it. Milky Way perspective. The Milky Way is said to be one of billions of galaxies in the observable universe. It contains between 200 to 400 billion stars, the one most familiar to us being the sun. The oldest star in our galaxy is 13.2 billion years old, said to be nearly as old as the universe itself. And the Earth is about 4.5 billion years old. Distances are measured in light years, and the Milky Way galaxy is believed to be 100,000 light years in diameter. The enormity and vastness stagger the mind and challenge the imagination. Yet it also gives us some notion of where we fit in all of this. Considered from this perspective, our usual frame of reference is put to the task. We're faced with the choice of abandoning our myopic vision in favor of seeing and accepting the bigger picture. Or we can just allow ourselves to be overwhelmed by a sense of smallness and helplessness. Yet know that we are composed of material from those very stars that inhabit the Milky Way. Thus, we are connected to Earth and the entire universe in all times, in life and in death. So there's that, which feels really, really, really appropriate. As I mentioned, where we find ourselves right now, the moon is waxing towards the big full moon total lunar eclipse in Sagittarius. Where are my notes? Because I get excited. So the sun moved into Gemini on the 19th. So we are freshly in the mutable air season of the twins. And we are here until June 20th, when the sun moves into Cancer, which gives us the summer solstice. So the sun in the Northern Hemisphere is building towards the longest day of the year, which is the summer solstice. So that happened on the 19th. And then, or actually, no, the 20th. The 19th was the last day we were in Taurus. So officially the 20th was a Gemini. And then today activated the Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. So as I mentioned, Saturn moving into Aquarius was one of the big sort of pivotal shifts in 2020 that we went through. So the retrograde, it's interesting, retrograde gets kind of this like bad reputation because one of the other things that happens this cycle is Mercury goes retrograde in Gemini. So right now we have Mercury, Venus, North Node, and the sun all in Gemini. So that's a stellium of planets in Gemini right now. And then we have Mercury going retrograde in Gemini at the end of the month. And then we have Saturn going retrograde right now. Pluto's also been retrograde for a little bit now. And on the day the sun moves into Cancer, Jupiter goes retrograde. That's why it moved into Pisces for that cycle. But so retrograde basically just means that it disrupts the regular motion, the regular programming of that planet. So actually Saturn retrograde, especially in Aquarius, is a really powerful wild card energy because Saturn is the planet of restriction and boundary. It's the very stern, like archetypal father. And then in Aquarius, it's kind of like the mad scientist a little bit. So what's happening here is that Saturn retrograde creates a karmic rebalance because Saturn is considered the god of karma, the lord of karma. So when they're retrograde, it's a rebalance. It's like a quick opportunity to reset our karma, especially in that energy. So wherever we're struggling with this dynamic between Aquarius and Saturn, we're going to have some space. We're going to have a little freedom. We're going to have a little bit of an opportunity to, if you've been doing a lot of work and not seeing a lot of response, sometimes that karma catches up really quick. The same goes for the other. And that's the thing with karma is that it's not good or bad. Right? Like karma just is. It's like the cause and effect. And during Saturn retrograde, we get to have this opportunity to reestablish our relationship with karma. So we can start to really look at, okay, these are the ways that I've been like ignoring, resisting, slacking off around these parts of my evolution. And again, Aquarius is very much about being outside the box, very much about innovation, very much about the higher consciousness. So again, the ways that we haven't been taking responsibility for our own of evolution and in that way, like that's some of the stuff that starts to come up. So that just happened today. So it's like almost like when Saturn goes retrograde, it's like you go from having like the strict personality to there's a little more space. There's a little less limitation. And so this actually will really support some of this Gemini energy because Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra are our air signs. And this is happening just a few days before. So on the 26th at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we have our full moon total eclipse in Sagittarius. So we have eclipses every year. We usually have at least 2 to 3 a year. We have 2 in this dynamic, and we have had this energy. So we had a Sagittarius Gemini eclipse also back in like 2009. They work in relationships. And so some of the stuff from 2008, 2009 is coming up, especially around our belief systems, our truth, our expression. And there's a lot of different thoughts on eclipses. So we have the full moon eclipse on the 26th, and then on the new moon on June 10th, we have an annular eclipse in Gemini. So we have the 2 eclipses in this season, one in Gemini itself with the Gemini new moon, one in Gemini's partner in the skies, which is Sagittarius. And a lot of times full moons are connected to ending. So the fact that we have Saturn going retrograde with this karmic shift, and then a couple of days later, we have this big eclipse in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the truth seeker. Sagittarius is the immutable fire energy. So again, there's sort of this big ending around these belief systems, around these old stories, around the ways that we feel like we have to go to others for information. Very important eclipse for sort of waking up to our reality. And so the thing with eclipses is that our ancestors, you know, sometimes they didn't understand them. So even people who were like magically inclined, they would sort of like lay low during eclipses because it was like, we're just going to stay in the house and fast because we don't really know what to do. You know, like the moon's covered, the sun's covered, like this is a, you know, this is a, and so as we know, there's always been a lot of taboo around it. And then amongst astrologers, like some astrologers love to harness the eclipses. Others are like, this is not the time to do anything, just let the cosmos do their thing. Because it's Sagittarius and Gemini, it's very personal. It's very much of like, what is your truth? If you feel like there's an energy that you're really ready to release, then absolutely, like this is a full moon for burning ceremony and for, you know, for tuning into that, you know, allowing yourself to be present. Or if you're like, you know what, I'm just going to kind of keep it to myself and keep it kind of, you know, simple. And the ritual we're going to do today, you can sort of play with that again during these eclipses because it is a very gentle practice that you can always take it up a little bit more. And so that's a lot. So the fact that we have the 2 eclipses, Mercury goes retrograde on the 29th in Gemini, and it's there for a few weeks. So the same thing goes. Mercury is communication. Mercury is travel. Mercury is our technology. So when Mercury goes retrograde, we tend to get really nervous about technology. And so again, also some astrologers are like, don't do anything during Mercury retrograde. But others are like, you know, things unfold the way they need to. And whatever sign the planet is retrograding in, we sort of see that. So Mercury is in its home sign of Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury also rules Virgo. So these eclipses, these energies are in mutable signs. So if you have strong placements in Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces, Virgo, you're going to be feeling these things a little bit more, and also the areas where you have them. And we'll talk about third house in just a minute. But so, oh yeah, so Mercury also rules Virgo, which is the other mutable sign, the mutable earth sign. So when it's retrograde in one of its own energies, again, we get this really good, this really important, I want to say good, this really important opportunity to explore. Gemini, once I said, one of the biggest things about Gemini is curiosity, right? Like allowing ourselves to be curious. So when Mercury's retrograde in Gemini, being really curious about everything, right? So especially if things happen that you're like, oh, this shouldn't happen, or I don't want this, I'm being curious about it, letting it be. Gemini is the student. Gemini is always the student. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. So like letting everything kind of be your teacher during this cycle, but especially during Mercury retrograde, instead of being like, why is this happening to me? Or why didn't this happen? It's like, what is this teaching me? Like, especially because we have this Aquarius energy, we have these big eclipses happening. It's like, and Sagittarius is considered the teacher. Gemini is the student. And right now the North Node is in Gemini, which is asking us all to be the student, to be curious, to be inquisitive, to change our stories, to work with our belief systems. And so while this Mercury retrograde may bring up things, it may create some complications, some challenges, it's an opportunity to really practice curiosity, to practice beginner's mind, to practice humor. So those are the virtues connected to Gemini: curiosity, self-expression, play, and humor. So as much as we can this month, even if we are sort of keeping to ourselves, not doing any bigger things because the energy is kind of volatile, right? Like, how can we be curious? How can we express ourselves? How can we play? How can we find humor, even as we honor and respect? And I had a student who's like, I feel really scared about these retrograde cycles. And I'm like, it's like when you go hiking, you know, like there's a good chance you're going to run into a rattlesnake or a bobcat or a coyote. And it's like, we respect them. We give them their space. We observe them, right? Like anything with nature. And that's like the card, the Milky Way reading. It's like, we're part of all of this. We have within us all of the stuff that the stars are made of. There's nothing in Mercury or Saturn that, like, we don't have a little taste of that in ourselves. These are our ancestors. These are our allies. In the same way that we look to the earth, we look to the elements, we look to the directions, we look here. So knowing that we don't have to be at odds with Saturn or with Mercury or with the full moon, right? Like words like lunatic and lunacy come from the full moons, you know, like these eclipses used to really freak people out. But we now have this technology to have this bigger perspective to understand why it happens. And we continue to get to choose our relationship with it. So that's really these next couple of weeks. We have Saturn shift into retrograde. We have the full moon. We have Mercury go retrograde. June 2nd, Venus enters Cancer, which will move some of that Gemini energy out. Right now, Venus is in Gemini. So the feminine is very much in her curious, playful, interested in variety and expression. The 10th, we have the new moon eclipse in Gemini, which it's an annular eclipse is the little ring eclipse. So the full moon is a total lunar eclipse. And then the solar eclipse is the little ring. But when we have that new moon, it's like that taste of a new beginning, the taste of the new story. And so as much as we can let ourselves just kind of let go, be curious, focus on our self-expression, focus on our humor, you know, work with these energies in the way we can. When we get to that new moon, we get that little bit of a taste of like what our story could be, like what we are a student to, what we are connected to. And then on the 11th, Mars enters Leo, which Mars is in Cancer right now, which makes our activity a little emotional. So that should actually lighten things up a little bit. Then there is a really big deal. So all these things are a big deal, but June 14th, we have Saturn square Uranus. And the Saturn-Uranus dynamics are so the way the Saturn-Jupiter was a big deal in 2020, the Saturn-Uranus squares are a big deal in the astrology of 2021. This is, I think, the second one. And so Saturn is in Aquarius and Uranus is in Taurus, right? And then Saturn's retrograde right now. So this one's going to feel a little bit different. But so Uranus is the disruptor. It's the liberator. It's the lightning strike. Taurus is our fixed earth. So last month we talked a lot about all the energies in Taurus. And then Saturn is the boundaries, right, in Aquarius, which is the higher consciousness. So when these energies are coming together, Saturn and Uranus are very different. And then Aquarius and Taurus are very different. So it really is about changing and disrupting the status quo, changing and disrupting, again, all the stuff we're talking about, the outdated belief systems, the inappropriate boundaries, or the boundaries that we need to place. So the energy around the 14th, to me, this is actually the bigger event of this cycle because it has this bigger placement sort of in the evolution. And so again, the more we can kind of allow ourselves to be curious, to do all these practices, to allow ourselves in this space, when we get to the 14th, we can really just sit back and observe with curiosity, with humor, just the little taste, just the little signs. So when the big outer planets do stuff, a lot of the times it is a slower progression. Obviously, we saw in 2020, sometimes things can happen really fast, but that's a big disruption. It can really start to disrupt the energy, but Saturn is retrograde in this square. So I'm really curious to see the difference in the feeling of that. And then, like I said, on the 20th of June, Jupiter goes retrograde and the sun moves into Cancer, and we'll go into that in the next cycle. We'll talk more about all the Jupiter energy. But so that's a lot. There's a lot going on this cycle. And so whether or not the astrology actually speaks to you, as I said, we are all in the third house for this. So the third house is your community, your day-to-day community, as well as the people you connect to across the ethers. So another thing that's really important is to connect to your people, connect to your community, whether safely in person or virtually. Make sure you're sending out those daily text messages and those emails, and you're checking in with your people. Make contact with your teachers, right? Because we want to connect to being our student self. So who are our teachers? Curiosity in everything, especially in situations where we suddenly feel, we feel worried, we feel scared, like having that curiosity, finding things that make you laugh, like watching silly movies, watching comedians, getting some time outside. So movement for air energy, we have to move. If air energy doesn't move, we get stagnant, and that's when we get either anxious or flaky. So those are some of the things with Gemini. People will say like the shadow Gemini is like two-faced, hypocritical, shallow, flaky. And that really just comes from being so changeable. If you're familiar with Ayurveda, like the Vata archetype is very much Gemini, and it's not intentional. If Gemini is not grounded in movement, if they don't have a way of writing or speaking or moving the energy out, it's very baffling to try to understand the Gemini mind. But we all have this cycle. We all have those ways that we need to write or speak or sing. So because Gemini is the hands and the voice box, right? So this is a great cycle for journaling. If you don't already journal, this is a cycle for journaling, working with any kind of writing, or, getting that energy out. And like I said, we're going to kind of work with a little bit today. So I could obviously continue talking about that, but we want to do a few other things to ground it. Because like I said, one of the challenges with Gemini is we are the student. It is the mind. And so it can be very easy to be stuck in the book, stuck in the internet, stuck in reading all of this stuff and learning it, but air has to move. So we are going to transition into movement, into meditation, into ritual, and just know you can reflect back on these notes or not. It doesn't matter. You don't have to follow the astrology to the T. We tune into it. We get that taste of it, and then we allow it to move through us. So I always talk about how Taurus is mid-spring. So it's like the flowers blossom. And then Gemini is the pollinators coming in. So the hummingbird, the bees, the dragonflies, the butterflies, they come in and then they take that pollen and they spread it around. So we want to move that energy around, right? All of this wisdom of the earth, all of this wisdom of the skies. So go ahead and bring yourself up to stand. So the movement is optional. You can do whatever you want. I will offer suggestions, but you listen to your body. We just want to take some time to move out of the astrology, the mental, and into the physical. So I always want to say that, but intuitive movement is much more important than just following along with what I'm doing if it doesn't feel okay. So we're going to come to stand, just in a place you've got some room. And as before, just kind of shake it out a little bit. Just do some shifting, shaking. You can jump up and down, side out, and just again, notice how you're feeling. So Gemini is a thinking sign. Gemini is very much a thinker. And so we do want to have Mars is in Cancer right now. So there is that emotional aspect, but we want to kind of bring that in. You give yourself, like I said, you can twist, rock, shake it out, but just move the whole body for just a moment. Take some deep breaths. So I do recommend a movement practice daily during Gemini. And I think for most of us, movement's really important, but even if it's just 5 minutes of yoga or putting on your favorite song or going for a walk, just 5 minutes of movement at least during this cycle. Bring yourself to center, feet comfortably wide, knees soft, put a little bend, roll the shoulders one way and the other. Inhale, squeeze your shoulders up to your ears, hold, open mouth, exhale, let them go. Inhale, squeeze the shoulders. Exhale, let them go. One more time. Inhale, squeeze and release. Shake your head out a little bit, just turning it gently side to side. And then if it's comfortable, you can let the left ear drop to the left shoulder. And just let out a little hum here. So the voice box, the energy of the throat. And then bring the right ear to the right shoulder if that's okay, or just keep kind of shaking the head. Take a big breath in, sigh out. So sound is nice for Gemini too. And then bring the head back to center. Inhale, reach your arms up towards that waxing moon, Gemini sun. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, sweep the arms up, reach. Exhale, hands to heart. One more time like that. Inhale, sweep it up, big stretch. Exhale down. Good. Soft knees, roll the shoulders down. You can stay with that, or inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, bend your knees, dive down, fold over your legs. Feel free to bend your knees. Shake it out here for a couple breaths, or again, just stay standing, sweeping the arms up and pulling them down. Opening up the legs. So Sagittarius rules the legs. So not a bad idea to feel into the legs. You're gonna take your hands to your shins. Inhale, lengthen up halfway. Exhale, bow. This time, go ahead and roll it up. Give it a little shake at the top. And then again, like that, or just to listen to your body. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold down to the earth. Soft knees, feel into the legs, shake it out. I like this pose because I kind of like to dump out my head a little bit. Imagine I'm just releasing again all those invasive thoughts, outdated thoughts. Gemini is like Quicksilver, but it can get caught up in the anxiety. It can get caught up in the duality. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Slowly roll up. I think there's a reason a lot of the yoga teachers I know are Geminis. Shake it out. That movement, that duality in the practice is so important. Inhale up one more time. Exhale, forward fold. Shake it out here. Wiggle it out. Feel into your legs. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, roll it on up. Shake it out at the top. Okay, feel into your feet again, hopefully feeling a little more grounded. You can take your hands to your hips. As you inhale, start to bend the right knee. You can keep the toes down or lift the leg and then lower. And we're gonna just alternate, finding a little balance. If you wanna incorporate the arms, inhale, arms up, lift one knee, lower, and the opposite. So this is a really simple movement I do a lot for Gemini. I teach a weekly moon class. And whenever the moon's in Gemini, we always do a lot of simple balance stuff. And it might seem simple, but some days it's like, whoa. Good, now if you wanna make this a little more interesting, just lift the opposite arm and leg. You might find like, whoa, what am I doing? And just breathe. Or you're just alternating legs. So again, legs are gonna connect us to Sagittarius. Gemini and Sagittarius are twins. Sagittarius is in the south node. So the nodes, again, are sort of the fate energy. It's sort of the magnetic part of the compass. And so the south node is kind of what we're letting go of. The north node is what we're moving towards. So we really are having this full moon eclipse, seeing collectively and individually, where are the outdated belief systems? Where are the outdated stories? Where do we need to redefine our archetypes, our myths, our teachers? Go ahead and hold. Wherever you are, it might just have the toe down. It might be both arms, it might be the opposite. If you have the opposite arm up, can you take it to the knee? A little twist. It's okay if you're falling, find the humor. And release, second side. You might just hold. Or you can add that opposite hand to knee, maybe start to twist. Find the laughter, humor. Yoga teaches us how to fall, and release, give it a good shake. Okay, inhale, reach it up. Exhale, bring it down. Shake it out here, wiggle it out. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up, shake it out. Soft knees, inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, right arm down, left arm overhead, side body stretch. Stretching both sides. Inhale up, exhale to the other side. One more time, inhale up, exhale over. Inhale up, exhale over. Inhale it up, exhale, bend the elbows behind you, hold, open your chest. Inhale, exhale, stick out your tongue. Inhale, reach your arms up, clasp your hands at the top, press your palms up. Exhale, draw your palms forward, round your spine, soften your knees. Inhale, press the palms up, lift your chest, open up, press down through your feet. Exhale, round, soft knees. Few more, inhale, bring it up. Exhale, round. Last two, inhale up. Exhale, round. Inhale up. This time, hold that roundedness. Tuck your chin, press, opening up through the back of the heart, the back of the lungs. Draw the belly and press through the palms. Inhale, reach it up, press up through the hands, lift the chest, soften the jaw. Bring your chin to parallel to start to bend the elbows just a little bit. Draw the belly and the ribs in. Open the chest, open the heart, big breath. Exhale, release, forward fold. Shake it out, ground it out. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, roll it all the way up. Give it a little shake. Again, find your feet. Hands to hips. Go ahead and bend that right knee, toes to the floor, or lift the knee. Lift the chest. Keep your hands here or reach your arms up. Or exhale, opposite hand to knee, add that little twist. 3 breaths wherever you are. Feel the difference. Again, a little humor, a little play. Inhale. Exhale, slowly release. Give a little shake. Second side. Go ahead and bend that left knee. And again, you can just be right here. Toes on the earth, hands to hips. Start to lift. Maybe arms up. You can always use support. Maybe you add that twist. Draw the belly in, open the chest. Couple more breaths. Can you turn up the corners of the mouth? So if Gemini's not playing, is not having fun, especially when Venus is in Gemini, take another breath. Exhale. Good. Come back and again, just shake it out. Just move it out. Wiggle, stretch, do some jumping jacks. So Venus is in Gemini, Mercury is in Gemini. Venus in Gemini, she does not like to be bored. As if you have Venus in Gemini, very important that she can entertain herself. Because again, other people aren't always going to be able to do it. So right now, it's like being very curious with ourselves, allowing ourselves space to play, to explore. Take a big breath in. Just open up the mouth, make some sound. And again, deep breath in. And one more, inhale. Slow it down. Again, feet comfortably wide. Roll the shoulders one way and the other. And then inhale, reach it up, open up. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees. If you want, reach your hands up behind you, clasp the hands and stretch the arms overhead, or just hang out here for a couple more breaths. So in our energetic chakra system, Gemini is usually considered to be in the heart because that's the hands. Obviously, there's a little bit of the voice box. Most of the air elements are kind of in this upper part of the body in our expression. Feel the shoulders, feel the hands. If you have the shoulders clasped or the hands clasped, go ahead and exhale, release that down. And then very gently, we're going to come down to the knees. So talking about the hands, we're going to do a little stretch for the wrists. So if this is too much, then you don't have to do it, but we're going to turn the hands towards the body. or slightly out to the side, or one at a time, and just do a few breaths. Now you can just sort of keep the weight comfortably here. If you're able to bring yourself to a tabletop position here, you can do a little cat-cow like this. Inhaling, opening the chest, exhale round. And if the wrists do not like the stretch, then just place your hands under your shoulders or come to your forearms and just come back into cat-cow. So cat-cow is a great Gemini movement. So if you have 5 minutes of moving a day, shake it out, shift it out, make some sound, do some cat-cow. Stand on one leg, you're good to go. Just a few more breaths. And if you're doing one hand at a time, make sure you switch. And then release. Oh, very slowly lower down to the belly into Sphinx. Tops of the feet down, feet hip width distance. Shoulders over the elbows, fingers spread, or if you have another gentle heart opener you prefer. This one's nice because the moon's in Libra, which is kidneys, and this is great for kidney meridian, heart, lungs, throat. Let us take some good breaths. Again, you can always shift, rock, move. Press through the tops of the feet. Draw the pelvis down. Soften your gaze. So because Gemini is like the pollinator, we do have to be mindful of overstimulation, especially because we have the retrogrades, the eclipses, and the Saturn-Uranus square coming up. So just be mindful, try to keep your attention on your community, your people, your community, or again, the work that you are doing, networking. Again, this is very much a cycle where the work that we are doing is being examined, both through the retrograde. So during retrograde, anything starting with RE, review, release, reflect, restore, right? So we're in that space with Saturn and Mercury very much, because that's that limitation, boundary, roles and responsibilities, as well as our communication, our technology. But Mercury is the psychopomp, and there are some really interesting things happening right now with Mercury, Mars, and Venus in the sky. Venus has just begun her ascent, so she's up in the evening sky now. If you have a chance to see Venus, you should definitely look for her. And she's just moving through the root chakra, so she'll be heading into the second chakra during this cycle, which is an opportunity for us to, so with the new moon, so on the 10th, 11th, she'll be moving into the second chakra. So getting into our feelings, our emotions, again, our creativity. Take one more big breath. Stick out the tongue. And then slowly you can push up to a child's pose or down dog if that's part of your practice. Otherwise, we'll come to sit. When you're ready, we'll meet at soles of the feet together, so no rush to get there. If there's any other movement or expression that the body is seeking, once you're in your bound angle, your Baddha Konasana, you can rock a little bit. You can do some circling or cat-cow, or just fold in. So speaking of the second chakra, and this is our butterfly, so, and also a kidney pose. So kind of getting all those things that are happening right now. Maybe add this into your 5-minute practice also. Any form of bound angle, a butterfly. And just take a few breaths. Feel your body and just notice the difference a little bit of movement makes, right? Like we didn't do anything too crazy, too complicated, And that's the thing with Gemini. Gemini can overcomplicate like really easily. So a lot of times in Gemini, we keep it simple. Breath and movement, write it out, watch a funny movie, get outside, get your body moving. Connect to your community, your teachers. Be curious. Big breath in. Exhale it out. Lift it on up. Take the left hand behind you, right hand to left knee. Just gently twist, shake out the head. And then other side. And then bring it back, extend the legs, shake them out. And then you can either just come back to sit, or if you want to sit up, we're going to do a little bit of breath, and that's going to move us into our guided journey. So if you need to get anything for that, you can, but we're going to move through some Nadi Shodhana before our journey. So if you want to get set up and then join me in the breath and just listen to it, but we're going to move from the breath into our relaxation. So for the relaxation, it's a guided nidra journey. So we sort of move through a kind of a blended process of yoga nidra and shamanic journey work. That is my personal Gemini practice that I love to do. And then Nadi Shodhana is an alternate nostril breath. So it's a great breath for the air signs, especially Gemini, because it helps to balance the hemispheres of the brain. So if you need to grab anything, get that. If you're familiar with this breath, and I know a lot of you are, once you're ready, you can come into it. But if anyone's newer to it or just wants a refresher, sitting up nice and tall. Usually we'll use the right hand, but obviously honor your body and however your hands feel more comfortable. The opposite hand I like to bring into mudra, Jnana mudra. So this is the mudra of knowledge, where we bring the index finger and thumb. Lovely again for our Gemini, Aquarius energies, right? Opening to the knowledge within and without. And then in the right hand, there's different mudras for Nadi Shodhana, but I'll keep it simple, right? So you'll just fold the middle three fingers, and you'll use your thumb for your right nostril if you're using the right hand, and the pinky for the left, okay? So we exhale out both nostrils. We're going to begin by closing the right nostril and inhaling left. You'll fill all the way up, and then you'll pause, close off both nostrils, and then you'll exhale out the right, really emptying all the way out. And then you'll inhale through the right. And then once you've inhaled, you'll hold both, and then you exhale left. So you're exhaling and then inhaling on the same side, and then you hold for a beat, and then you exhale completely, and then inhale completely on that side. And those of you who've been practicing this, you can add the retention where you hold at the top and the bottom. If you want to make it even more Gemini, you can count the breath and try to balance the length. So you could try to inhale, hold, exhale for 4. So pranayama, excellent practice. Breathing techniques, breathing work, breath work practices, really good for Gemini season. So if you want to learn something, because Gemini is great for the student, and while they say don't start anything new during retrograde, it's like when we're working on our personal enrichment, especially if it's like, okay, I'm going to take a pranayama class, a breathing class, I'm going to start a foreign language class, like that's all good stuff to do during this time. Personal sort of reflection, personal sort of healing work is totally fine. And if you do find that you have some big stuff that you need to choose during this cycle, make big purchases, start new jobs, things like that, we ask for guidance, we ask for support. We're going to be working with the candles, but you can always definitely have a candle that is specific for the season, and the one we use today you can do, or specific to Mercury, specific to these energies. I've definitely done that, where I've created sort of an altar to these planets, these deities, and I've connected with them every day and just asked for their help, asked for the guidance, asked for the support. And so that curiosity is so important, but also that kind of childlike faith in magic and mystery, in the Milky Way, that perspective. So if you are doing the breathing, if you've been doing the breathing, the next time you exhale out the left nostril, you'll be finished. So the next time you exhale out the left. So we started and ended on the left side, the lunar side. help to activate the right brain, which is our more creative, intuitive brain. And you can release the right hand into the Jnana Mudra. And just sit with the breath for a moment. You can count it or just observe it. A soft, wide gaze. And take a big breath in. And exhale. And then go ahead and make your way into meditation. So lying on the earth, lying over props. I'm going to grab something. So go ahead and just let yourself get settled as best you can, as comfy as you can. So ideally not in a position that you know you're going to fall asleep in, but you want to be comfortable. And if you do fall asleep, it's fine too. So it will just give us a moment to And so just getting comfortable, whatever that means for you today. Take a deep breath in through the nose again. Open mouth. Exhale it out. Take another deep breath in. Fill all the way up. As you get to the top, squeeze your hands, squeeze your face, squeeze your chest, squeeze your legs, your feet, squeeze the whole body. And then open mouth. Exhale, let it all go. And again, take a deep, deep breath in as you fill to the top, hold, squeeze, especially the face, the throat, the arms, squeeze the legs, squeeze everything, hold, hold, hold. And then open mouth, let it go. Give your body to the earth. Give your body to Mama Gaia. Allow yourself to rest here in the center of the directions, the elements, the spirits of the land that you rest upon, your own personal guides, guardians, angels, ancestors, and the mischievous, mercurial, magical allies of this season, of the skies, of this final cycle of spring. As spring dissolves to summer, as earth moves to air. Feel the back of the body. Feel it heavy, supported, grounded. And then feel the front of the body. Notice if there's a lightness, a spaciousness. Just for a moment, observe the back of the body and the front of the body. Just noticing the differences in sensation, and even in the senses, the difference in the temperature from back to front, how we can smell from the front and not the back. Taste from the front and not the back. And yet we hear somewhere in the middle. And so as you feel into the polarity between back and front, notice the sounds that bring us here. Give yourself permission to be here in the midst of paradox, polarity, duality, as we wax towards this full moon eclipse, as we wax towards the summer solstice. We are here now. And it's so rare to see a hummingbird still, to see a butterfly still. Yet when we do, we can't help but feel the blessing that we've witnessed, this pause, this rest. And in this cycle, it's important to honor the sacred pause, the sacred rest. This is where the magic happens. The movement is necessary at this time of the year. It's part of the dissolution. It's part of the shape shifting. And yet it is in the stillness, the silence, the pause, the rest, where the transformation occurs. And so we gather ourselves here fully. Gather ourselves here completely, all parts, the dark and the light, the open and the closed, the heavy and the light. We call ourselves here fully, our mind and our body and our breath and our heart and our spirit and our soul and our emotions. We call all parts of ourselves here to be witnessed, to be received, to be nourished, to the messages, the messenger of this time. Call yourself here fully as we begin this practice of the Gemini magician. Feel into the space between the eyebrows. Feel into the space between the eyebrows, the third eye center. Drop your consciousness here into this space, into the swirling rainbow light of the Gemini shapeshifter magician. As you drop into this swirling rainbow light in this space between the eyebrows, open your intention. And if there is an intention that you have for this cycle, you can work with that. Or simply today we say, I am magic. I am magic. I am magic. And as you drop into that energy, the swirling rainbow lights become a pulsing blue star. And this pulsing blue star is planted at the space between the eyebrows, back up between the ears, the midbrain, the home of the pineal pituitary gland, as we activate the most holy hormones to awaken the magic and the message within. This warm, pulsing blue light moves from the midbrain to the space between the eyebrows and back and forth. And then it moves down to the hollow of the throat, this pulsing, warm blue light at the hollow of the throat. And then it slides into the right shoulder, down into the right elbow, down into the right wrist. And then it reaches out to the tips of all fingers on the right hand. And the tips of the thumb and fingers lit up with this blue radiant star flickering and flashing, creating this constellation from the tips of the fingers up through the wrist, elbow, shoulder, back to the hollow of the throat. And then these warm, radiant blue stars move down into the left shoulder, down into the left elbow, down to the left wrist, and then they reach out to the tips of your fingers, lighting up the tips of the thumb and the forefingers with these blue stars, before moving back up through the wrist, elbow, shoulder, hollow of the throat. And you feel both arms, your throat, your third eye lit up with this twinkling, bright star energy, this Gemini magic, like wings. And as this energy continues to pulse from the hollow of the throat, this blue star slides into the center of your heart, and the heart is activated. It moves to the right side of the chest and then back to the center of the heart. and to the left side of the chest, like a little bird, and back to the heart. And your whole heart is full of this light and this magic and this energy. Your heart and your hands and your arms and your throat up to your third eye. And then these twinkling stars send energy from the heart into your solar plexus, activating your power center, down into the navel center, pulsing into the sacral chakra and the energies of the sacral chakra. And then it moves into the right hip, right knee, right ankle, down to the tips of the toes, all 5 toes lit up with these blue flashing stars. Tips of the toes, back through the ankle, the knee, the hip, and then moving back into that sacral chakra, the navel center, and then down into the left hip, left knee, left ankle, down at the tips of the left toes, lighting up the tips of the toes with the blue star. The tips of the toes through the ankle, the knee, the hip, back to the navel center. And from the navel center, this energy moves down your legs, down your feet, and then back up into the chakras, the navel center, the solar plexus, the heart and throat, down your arms, up to your third eye, and your whole body is lit up by these beautiful, radiant blue stars, bringing that magic and mystery, that sweetness of starlight into every part of your body. And as you feel your body waking up with this star power, this star energy, feel your breath. You feel your breath animating these stars, this constellation that is uniquely yours. You watch your breath. You watch your breath rise and fall. And we count the breath back from 11, watching the breath at the belly or the heart. As you inhale, you hear, I inhale 11. And as you exhale, I exhale 11. I inhale 10. I exhale 10. I inhale 9. I exhale 9. And you count back the breath from 11 without effort, just focusing the mind on the breath as the body continues to receive this activation of starlight. You are gently counting back the movement of the breath. If you get to 0, start over. If you get lost, come back to 11. Let go of the breath and the count. Come back into that space between your eyebrows as we balance our opposites. And this is a particular area of power for Gemini, to balance the opposites. So as I call out these pairs of opposites, just invite your body to feel them with all the play and humor and felt sense you can. Just invite in this experience of opposites to clarify and communicate with the energies of the mind and the emotions. Focus on your third eye and call in darkness. How you feel it, how you sense it when you say darkness to yourself. What happens in your body? Dark. And then call in the opposite. Call in light. What changes? What shifts? What moves? Go back to dark. Come back to light. Can you hold both dark and light? Can you find the magic between dark and light? that go. Call in masculine. Masculine. What happens when you feel masculine? And then feminine. What changes with feminine? Feminine. What is that? Go back to masculine. What is that? Feel feminine. Where is that? Is there room for both? Masculine and feminine. What happens when you hold both? Masculine and feminine. Let it go. Call in distracted. Feel distracted. There's distraction. Distraction in the body. Feeling distracted. Call in balanced. What does balance do differently than distraction? And then feel distracted again. How often, how quickly are we distracted? And then balance the distraction. Can you be distracted and balanced? Let that go. Feel into anxious. Anxious. And then curious. Curious. What changes? What shape shifts? When you feel anxious, what's anxiety? What does that feel like? And then curiosity. Can the anxiety become curiosity? Can it transform into curiosity? Let that go. Call in bad. Bad. When you say bad, what do you sense? What do you feel? Good. Call in good. Feel bad. Feel good. Feel bad again. Feel good. What's the space between? What really exists between this idea of bad and good? Find you as you are. Find you. Find you here, curious. Find you here, magical. Find you here, balancing, shape-shifting. Drop back in that space between the eyebrows, that swirling rainbow light around the warm blue stars. Let yourself drop now to the wise, intuitive realm or higher consciousness. This rainbow light sprinkling blue stars. Let yourself go into that blue star. Just holding the image of that blue star. With all the other colors and lights, feel into that blue star. The blue star morphs into a butterfly. A butterfly. It morphs into a hummingbird. It morphs into a hawk, into into a hawk. It morphs into wind blowing through trees. Wind blowing through trees. It morphs to clouds moving across the sky. Clouds moving across the sky. Morphs into the open space of the Milky Way. The open space of the Milky Way. Morphs into the tiniest cocoon of a caterpillar. The tiniest cocoon of a caterpillar. You are in that cocoon. You are that caterpillar. Your whole body wrapped in this rainbow light and this sprinkle of stars. You are wrapped in this cocoon in this time of metamorphosis, this time of shape-shifting and magic. What are you becoming? What is waking up? What are you turning into? You are wrapped and blessed and protected. You will know when it's time to emerge. In this cycle, in this season, allow yourself to receive in this cocoon whatever nourishment you need, holding that curiosity and all the potentials that you are becoming. Trust. Time is coming. For now, you are wrapped in this rainbow light, all these blessings, all this balance. As you are wrapped here in this space, you again hear your intention for this simple statement of I am magic. I am magic. I am magic. Come back to your breath. Feel the breath in the body. Start to bring movement to the breath. Wiggle and stretch. And you can start to roll to one side or make your way up. And if you need to jot something down in the journal, please honor that. We are going to kind of move into our ritual from this space. So just staying in that sort of cocoon-like energy of all these potentials. Make sure you have your candle, something to light it with, pen and paper, or marker and paper. If you want to light some incense or herbs and have some smoke going, that can be nice too, if that's appropriate for yourself. So don't light the candle yet, but again, if you want to come up and take a moment, jot anything down, like I said, light your incense or herbs. So working with air, so it is nice to work with some intentional smoke. Maybe finding herbs native to your land or to your ancestors can always be a fun thing. So we're going to do a little process here, and you're welcome to repeat this with the full moon and the new moon, or to just build on it for yourself from here. And so we're going to start with the Gemini glyph. So there's a symbol for all of the astrology. And so you can either do this. So if you have a new candle that you're lighting, or a candle that there's quite a bit of wax left, you can put it directly on the candle. This can be your Gemini candle for the cycle. And especially because Sagittarius is fire, it's really good to have a fire source. But we're going to start with drawing the glyph. So the Gemini glyph, and I'm going to explain this, is pretty simple. Part of why we're going to do this one. So it's got the duality, right? So there's the two pillars and then the half moons. And so either with your paper or on your candle, you're going to start and you're going to write it out with your dominant hand, and you'll trace over it twice with your dominant hand, and then do it 3 times with your non-dominant hand. So our Gemini glyph, and just breathe. So drawing the glyph as big as you want, and try to trace over the same one, but obviously listen to your mind, your body. 3 times with dominant hand, 3 times with non-dominant. And when you finish that, light the candle, whether the candle has the glyph or have the candle, the glyph close to the candle, not like obviously to light it on fire, but nearby. And we're going to take a moment of allowing this to be our teacher. So with Gemini, we want to be the student, and especially with all the volatile energy. So keeping that glyph in your mind's eye, light the candle. And then I just want you to sit with that soft gaze. So soft gaze keeps a nice, it's almost like you're looking to your periphery, but you have like a soft gaze. And just let your eyes flicker from the candle to the glyph. And let it become your teacher. And it's that simple. The practice of this is just whatever we're facing, whether it's a challenge, whether it's a gift, whether it's in nature, whether it's in our own body, we sit with it and we say, be my teacher. And when we sit with a soft gaze, anytime, especially with fire, things do start to shapeshift. The lines, the colors, and just breathe. Breathe with the candle, breathe with the symbol. When Mercury's retrograde, symbolism is pretty important because our regular language can get a little bit tricky. So just allowing yourself to feel this symbol as teacher. And this, again, is a great practice for this cycle. Write out the glyph, sit with them, ask them to be your teacher, especially as Mercury will be retrograde in Gemini. And just notice if anything changes, and it might not, but it is moving us deeper into that state of magic. Take a couple more breaths. Glyph, candle, candle, glyph. Take a big breath in. Exhale it out. Now, with your gaze soft on the glyph or candle or both, say out loud, I am curious. And say it 2 more times. I am curious. I am curious. And then take your hands above the candle, safely above, rub the hands in the fire. Feel the heat from the candle into the hands, and thinking, I am curious. Take a breath. And then let your hands go to the part of your body that they're called to. So if you're thinking about, I am curious, where do your hands go on your body when you are curious? Or maybe somewhere you need to be curious. Maybe there's something going on in your body right now that you want to be curious about. And hold that heat there. Holding that heat, the gaze softly go to the candle or Gemini. And we're calling in the teacher here. So Gemini loves to multitask. So again, just be where the focus is. We're letting the body speak through our curiosity, continuing to ground through the candle and the glyph. Allow the heat to penetrate this area with curiosity. Take another big breath. Exhale it out, release the hands. And then as you gaze at the candle, you'll again say now, I am shape-shifting. I am shape-shifting. I am shape-shifting. Now for the third time, again, close the eyes, take the hands above the candle, rub the palms. Focus on the glyph, on the energy. What is shape-shifting? What is transforming? What does that even mean? Take a breath and exhale. Let your hands go into the body wherever they go when you consider shape-shifting. Eyes can stay soft, just really feeling into the teaching of the hands. Or again, soft gaze on glyph or candle, letting this be your teacher, your shape-shifting teacher. Take a breath. Exhale it out, release the hands. Sit with the glyph, sit with the candle. And then again, we'll say 3 times, I am magic. I am magic. I am magic. And then again, rub the hands over the fire, feel that heat, feel that magic. Take a big breath. And then again, intuitively, where do your hands go on your body when you bring in magic? The hands are Gemini, letting them connect to that part of the body or connect to the glyph and the fire. Take a big breath in. Exhale, release the hands. You can bring the index fingers and thumbs to touch. Let the hands pause for a moment here. Feeling that curiosity, shape-shifting magic. Curiosity, shape-shifting magic. Letting that sort of move through you just in that way, or maybe for you, it comes through differently. Curiosity, shape-shifting magic. Curiosity, shape-shifting magic. You can say it out loud, you can sing it, you can hum it. Again, maybe you draw it or write it. For a moment, we allow this teacher, we allow those energies. Curiosity, shape-shifting magic. 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 CSM, CSM, CSM. Curiosity, shape-shifting magic. Curiosity, shape-shifting magic. Curiosity, shape-shifting magic. Take another big breath. And now as you exhale, take your hands and hold them above the candle. So not rubbing the palms, hold. Just enough you can feel the warmth and still gaze into the flame or into the glyph. And here's the space where we offer our own language, our own prayers, our own intentions. You can again just repeat those mantras if that feels good, or sing them or hum them. Or again, let this be your prayer, your invocation, your casting of this cycle. Feeling the air and the heat and the light and the image into the hands, through the heart. Take another big, big breath in. And then as you exhale, take hand to heart, hand to belly. Let yourself rock and offer gratitude to the elements, the directions, the spirits of the land, to Mercury and Venus and the sun and the moon and Saturn and Jupiter and Uranus and Pluto, to all of our guides, guardians, angels, to the hummingbirds and butterflies, to the great pollinators, the shapeshifters and magicians. We offer our gratitude to the goddess of the rainbow, the new storyteller. May she awaken within each of us. May this cycle support us in deep curiosity and humor, in our unique self-expression and playfulness, even as we navigate these changing times. May we seek the support of our loved ones, our community. May we communicate with spirit and self and other. May we move and breathe into balance. May this practice support us in our lives at this time, to be gentle with us through these eclipses and retrograde, for the benefit of the earth and her evolution, for all those in this process of evolution, for our loved ones, for all beings in the world. We offer gratitude. We open to the grace, to the magic, to the shape-shifting with curiosity, with humor, with play. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. All blessings be. And so you can continue to write or sit with these energies. And as I said, this might be a simple thing to do for the full moon and the new moon, or you'd like the candle, you can just draw the symbol. And if there's anything else going on, if there's a quality that you're really stuck on, so anything like oppositional, if you're feeling bad or guilty or confused, bringing in the opposite, and then again, letting the fire help to inform the body. And so you can do that with any mantra, with any quality. And just this space of writing and feeling, like I said, a very simple way to work with these energies that's not overly volatile. But otherwise, just allow yourself to receive what you need to receive. And I'm so appreciative to be with you today. I'm going to turn off the recording. So if you're on the recording, thank you so much. Please let me know if you have questions. Many blessings, and hope to see you next month.